Welcome to the Grounded Strength, Stay Grounded podcast. My name's Adrian. I've got two guests with me. My first guest is my coach, friend, mentor, Jason.
Good to be here.
Welcome. He runs a fantastic business, both coaching physique transformations, bodybuilders, everything in between, and an amazing business called STC Fit and Learn, where myself and Jackson have, tripled our income from it. And we're in forever debt from everything that you've passed on to us as far as information.
Good to know some of it actually gets in there.
The words of affirmation.
That's it. I need it. Keep talking it up.
Keep talking it up.
Yeah. Love it.
From my side of it, I obviously look up to you heaps as a businessman and trainer. What questions I have for you is like, what did your first athlete look like when you went through a comp prep with them? Like, how was that for you?
That's wild. You asked me
I
that
literally
today.
asked him that the other day. Yeah.
So the same message that we always tell you guys, like when you're building your business, finding your feet and trying to work on that client that you guys want multiple of. Ben and I always say like create that person. So my first client was that. Like it was a young fella named Ben, not the Ben we know. And yeah, like came into the gym, obviously aspirations to like put on size and get stronger and build a physique and all that. Then we just went through that process of getting bigger and bigger and kind of learning all the things, the protein and the training and all of that stuff. And yeah, just got to a point where we were kind of just floating the idea of competing. I had competed and he was curious, and then like that was on the cards for him. So the first prep, like, was it very dissimilar to my one? Like, obviously, I didn't have people to lean on and mentors and things like that. So I leaned on my own experience a lot to manifest that for him. But yeah, it was really, really fun. But only came from, like I said, just taking that person from someone who didn't even know how to squat to, someone who could get up on stage and, kind of do some damage. Like, he looked really good.
Did you show me the photo? He looks great.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
What was like the biggest lesson that you took away from that's carried on to every other prep with people?
Communication. So making sure that you have that person really comfortable to like express like how they're feeling and what's going on and all of those things. And obviously just like that standard, man, like you guys know the deal. We have a standard that we set for ourselves, and I would like to think I do my best to uphold that and show you guys that I do it myself. And yeah, I don't think there's a compromise on that. And I I think if you have that, then you're just increasing the likelihood of that person bringing their best. The check-in gets done, the training gets done, the diet gets hit. And if for whatever reason things don't happen the way they should, that person has the confidence and they feel comfortable to tell you, this is what's happened and this is what I'm feeling. So you guys can address the issue, because that's really what you want.
Do you feel from when you obviously went through with Ben to now, do you think that process of getting someone ready and confident and the lifestyle and essentially being a bodybuilder has become a lot faster for you to know what sort of buttons to press?
Oh, absolutely. Like the one of the biggest, I guess, like strong points I have as a coach, and it's obviously manifested from the business coaching and running multiple businesses now, is systemizing things so that I can, like, I coach you guys exactly the same. So what I mean by that is you get the same stuff, like you get, I look at things the same way, like everything that I do to you, like you get the same. It's just that we're tweaking things for your body and we're tweaking things for your body. And that comes from like I showed you today, like this is how I do it. So I showed Jackson today, this is my spreadsheet. This is what I look at. This is where we get this starting point. This is how we, make sure that we, adhere to that. And this is what I'm looking at for peak week and all that kind of stuff. So obviously when I was working with my first clients, I didn't have those things, but I didn't have the mindset for it. I didn't have an understanding of like, I need to look at this thinking I'm going to coach 20 competitors at once. Because I only ever had like one or two. So it was just like, stick to your deficit, hit your program, do your cardio, and we'll just work it out, So that's been a strong point, or something that I've tried to manifest as a strong point, is just make the system have a reference point of like where you make your decisions from, and make sure that it's consistent. Make sure that like if for whatever reason like someone was to look at how I coached all 7 of you that I'm doing right now, you can see that it's very similar.
Yeah.
Like it's not. There's no guesswork. There's no, you know, yeah. It's not. I'm not just making shit up on the go.
Yeah. Do you think with that system, like it's very applicable to anyone, or do you think that it's a very specific person that now you attract that fits that system?
I think it's a combination of both. Like the system is there to give myself like a reference point and, you know, starting bits of data and information, and like I said, you know, make that consistency. You obviously need people to meet the requirements to get the most out of that though. Like it's like you've got this system. This system is an implementation of like this method that you have, but the method requires a certain, you know, degree of, you know, expectation and habits and things like that your client must do. So obviously to get the most out of it, yeah, like you guys are the example of how to get the most out of it. Do what needs to be done, leave no stone unturned, like give all the information necessary, and you'll get the best result from that. But unfortunately, that's not how it works for everybody for whatever reason. Like you got people who don't understand dieting, nutrition, training, for whatever reason, or they're just like not committed enough on their goals to challenge themselves enough to go beyond a point where they feel some form of like discomfort or hardship or something like that. So that's not going to work for them, you know. But that's somewhat on you, but somewhat not on you. You know, it's like I can't make your goals mean more to you.
Yeah.
You know, I can't make you feel what you feel about achieving your outcome and whatever, you know, you need to do that's necessary to do it. So that's where you know, problems arise for those people that are a bit wishy-washy.
Yeah, so that's where it leads into my other question, I guess, for now, Jackson. It's like, do you think effort is coachable?
I think it can be guided, but I think there comes a certain point where they have to do it. Like I can show them, I can tell them how to do it and put them in the position where they need to do it. But if they don't choose to do it, then that's where it becomes hard, right? It's like we all train hard because we're in an environment where we train hard, like today, for example. But it's like if I choose to tap out of the set, or if I choose to not do that rep after you guys tell me to do it, that's really on me. Like I think it's more of the person's responsibility and how important that goal is. Like Jason said, it's like I know the goal is important to me. So if you guys tell me to do another rep, I should be doing another rep because that effort should be there. If we're even like meal prepping like how we are now, it's like you don't need to tell me to do it.
Yeah.
But you expect it, and I know that I should be doing it. But that's the standard that Jason set for me. And I know that if I want to get the outcome that I want, then I need to do that. And that effort needs to be there. I think it needs to be taken responsibility of the person who wants it and make sure their goals line up with the actions they have.
Yeah. Do you think that effort is genetic?
I don't. I think it's a combination of how you have been brought up. I think it's a combination of who your biggest influences are. I think it's a combination of like what's your definition of effort and like what degree of it do you know of? You know, because if we look at, like, I agree with everything you just said. Like, you can teach someone up to a point, but then there's like at the end of the day, someone's walking home like going, "Did I give this everything I got?"
Yeah.
And you don't ever want to have that. You don't ever like let's use today's workout for like an example. Like I left the last set of that hack squat going like there's 3 reps left there.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, I can sit here and be like, yeah, but like, you know, you weren't running on 100%. And like, you know, you said to yourself, you weren't supposed to push that day, but I'm like, there are 3 reps left.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. Like think about if you did that every exercise, every set for every workout, you're losing so much progress. There's so much gains being left off the table. But the reason why you guys don't experience that is because you get taught the effort, you understand what it takes, and your goals mean the most to you. So from that perspective, I think that it's a taught skill, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, somewhere down the line, someone's like, hey, this, you know, these people are predisposed to, you know, this much stress and can take more or whatever because their brain chemistry just said yes.
I think also the environment is the biggest thing. Like just because like the upbringing, I think that's the most important.
Yeah.
Like I look at myself versus some other people, and it's just like the environment is so different, which is why I feel like I'm willing to do more.
Yeah.
And even you guys, it's like there's no other option. This has to work. Whether it's business, whether it's training, it's like I'm getting the extra rep, or I'm gonna take the plunge in business, as like we were talking
Yeah.
here. It's like that's not pre-programmed, but the environment, because we have those conversations,
Yeah.
that allows me to walk away from the conversation and be like, then I'm gonna go do that. I
Yeah.
have to show up even more than what I already am. That environment and the upbringing facilitates it.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, you know, the people that I've got on the team who are just complete animals have had very, very difficult upbringings. And, you know, you can see that when they train. Like, there's a
Yeah.
level of intensity that a normal person cannot dream of fathoming, like
Yeah.
getting. And I guess it helps me realize that there's still so much effort that I can put in. And I think
Yeah.
that's for me at the moment what prep is showing me is that, yes, calorie deficit, there's so many other factors that I have to worry about, but my business hasn't moved faster as it already has because of the effort that I'm now putting in training. And I go, oh, fuck, there's actually X amount more that I can do for business as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
I think it does one or the other as well, though.
Yeah.
Like it'll either make it or it won't. Like you'll either put it in or you like it's there's just no in between. Like you
Yeah.
put that effort in or you just won't. Like
Yeah, I understand.
Do you think, you know, you spoke about briefly, Jason, with like, you know, where or, well, you're 10 years younger than us, but our upbringing, like with as far as the movies we watched and, you know, the environment and everything like that, I feel like today's world, as far as let's just talk about movies, you know, there's no Arnie, you know, there's no level to sort of go, okay, well, these guys are working at a very, very high level
Yeah.
to look at now, as far as like a, you know, like who would, like you, when you were growing up, like who was the action hero of like that generation?
see, it's hard, man, because I grew up in martial arts.
Yeah.
So it was like Bruce Lee,
Of course.
like Chuck Norris. But it's like
Yeah.
you
which
still,
we still
yeah,
resonate
like you
with.
still
Yeah.
go to those people because if you they're still with time they get greater.
Yeah.
It's like Michael
Yeah.
Jordan is still the greatest because it's like a fine wine. They become more of a spectacle because
Yeah.
you realize what they did is even more amazing.
Yeah.
And I think like if you have that mentality, you will still gravitate towards those people.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think there's like it'd be interesting to see what other people would say at your age. But like, yeah, we obviously grew up like in a generation where it was like you could be big, you could be strong, you could be masculine, like, and it was okay, you know.
Yeah.
And now depending on where you live on the internet, like that's not okay, you know, in some places, and it's not thrown in your face as much. And who knows, like maybe in our worlds, like where we are trying to get big and strong and those types of things, like it is a necessary thing to immerse yourself in. Like I even just look at like watch Ronnie Coleman's first DVD and watch like Martin Fitzwater's latest workout on YouTube.
in
Yeah.
regards to
Just watch it and just see. Like you
watch
just-
Blood and Guts and then you
Yeah,
watch like a
it's
modern
just-
day one. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just
So
a
if-
big burly man just fucking screaming in the gym, just working out, and then
It's all black and white. There's
Yeah,
guys screaming at
where
him,
now
he's
it's
spitting on the floor.
you got to have the right clothes and you got to have
Yeah.
the lighting. Like even today, it's like we all, you know,
Mm.
had our kits and fits for the gym, and it's like these guys were just like, "This is the oldest, shittest t-shirt I have. I'm just gonna go work out."
yeah.
And like, it's not about that. It's about the muscle.
Yeah.
It's about the strength. It's
The
about
work.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pursuit. It's about the work. Yeah.
Mm.
But because I reckon my generation is more Ziz type era,
Yeah.
where it's like that aesthetic, that
Mm.
lifestyle of being
Yeah, it's
thick
not just
kind, like
it's not just the muscle, right?
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
like
lifestyle.
you
it's
get the-
what,
you get
it's
the
what else you
chicks.
do. Yeah, that's right.
you go to the festivals, like all
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, we were just on the tail end of that, which I was like, sounds pretty good.
Well, that was that got me into the gym. Like the
Yeah.
first gym video
Yeah.
I watched was the Ziz Legacy video,
Of course.
where it's like Cosmic Gate in the background, in the car, dry
Yeah,
scooping
it's in the favorites.
pre-workout. Yeah, and I still
And the
watch it.
fucking,
It's got
Yeah.
train legs again.
It's sick.
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love
It's,
that.
you know, he really, you know, for all it's worth, he really made it okay and cool to train. You know,
Oh, and to film as well.
Yeah,
Like if
film
he was
everything.
alive today, man, like
He'd be killing it.
Yeah.
he'd be vlog like Gymshark sort of sponsorship type vibe, like
Yeah.
Trend Twins.
He probably
type
have his
thing.
own. Like
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
He's
like,
got such a big following.
And yeah, like he was ahead of his time in terms of that. It's just a shame that
Mm.
obviously life decisions got
Yeah.
weren't great.
Things
but-
come crashing down with too much exposure. I think.
yeah. Well, he wanted to live both lifestyles, right?
Yeah.
He wanted that go to the festival, get the chicks, and have the big
And then
weekend,
just push
and
your
then-
body to the limits.
Yeah, it's like
elsewhere.
you're
Yeah.
burning on both ends. Something's gonna go.
Also, yeah, I guess there's just a finite amount of time that you can actually do that and still get some sort of result
Yeah.
before.
But
the
it
risk you
fucking
play
worked.
with. Yeah.
Um,
Worked till it didn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I guess it's somewhat related, like moving forward with all the training and stuff we're talking about. Do you think it's a necessity as a business owner to train?
Absolutely. I think if you're in the business of training, I wouldn't, unless you have had to have at some point done your time and been exceptional at the training part of it, to then have people put their trust in your decision making and their health and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't think like you need to look, like a superhero all the time. I think, does someone like me need to have looked muscular, lean, strong, etc.? Absolutely. But I'm also a big advocate of, like I said before, that culture, that those expectations, that lifestyle that I expect of others to live. And I think if I'm leading that from the front, like it just increases the likelihood of, you guys doing it and getting more people like that. So I know for me personally, it's like I'll always train and I'll always try my best to look as good as I can and whatever. But I know there's people out there that like probably get to a point where they're like, all right, life decisions, whatever, like have a family, like, things change, whatever. But they've been that good at their job and they've done enough to have the respect and they've got the technical skills that they can attract those types of clients. Because at the end of the day, like it just gets to a point where like your clients aren't sponsoring an athlete, like your clients are paying you because you're an expert.
Yeah.
And that's when you just take people who want your skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that was the angle I was going for, but I was more saying like, as you have progressed in business, do you think you would have got to this level without training?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, I was saying to Jackson, like,
Yeah, we spoke about
literally
it today.
strategically got bigger to make sure that the knowledge and the systems and the results and all of that stuff reflected who the other part of it. Because what do you got to work with to attract people? You've got your own results, like social. You got your own proof. Then you got social proof of everyone else. Then you've got your information to make sure that that's consistent. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you take yourself out of it, you've only got results with your clients and your information and messaging that you send out. So I think that if you are setting yourself up for success as a business, like why not add that third prong back in, until you don't need it. And then you'll see it all the time. Like, there's a lot of coaches now that like, they don't train. Like they don't train in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But they're exceptional in terms of their skills and their athletes are exceptional. So it's relevant until it's not, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think also as well as like how, like I'd find it difficult for you to tell me to do the thing that you're telling me to do
If I haven't done it.
If you haven't done it,
Absolutely.
it's like 6 weeks out, it's like I know how you feel.
Yeah.
It's like that alone for at least a client athlete coach athlete situation, I know it definitely does help.
And then that's the difference between success and failure sometimes, So I would just be really curious just for those people that haven't experienced that part of like a powerlifting prep or a bodybuilding show or whatever, like where you're like in that last 4 weeks, it's like if you've never been there yourself, like what conversations are you having with your athlete to get them, like to talk them back off the ledge when they're like, this is fucked. I'm not going to make it. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm not lean enough. It's like, if you've never been there, it's like, what conversations are you having there? And like, what's the difference in terms of outcome compared to the person that's been there to coach that person, the person that hasn't? It's like, what outcome, what difference in the look or the performance on the platform is that person getting?
Yeah. Well, it's just, I literally had this same conversation like 2 weeks ago with coming into peak with powerlifting. You feel like shit, like nothing feels you don't feel like you feel strong, but sort of at the same time you don't, and so you miss lifts, and then you start to second guess whether everything's going to happen on the day, and then working through my own mentality when that happened to me, and what I spoke to with my coach at the time, I was like, oh, thank fuck that I've actually done a comp, and it's not just I've read numbers off a piece of paper. And
Yeah, it's like next week you need to hit those lifts.
yeah,
Like,
okay,
yeah,
like
that's the old like hit your macros, dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like when you're not tracking or anything like that. But it's just interesting because all the high level business people that I look up to and stuff, like probably the biggest one at the moment is Toto Wolff from Mercedes.
yeah, weapon.
And he eats the same thing. He trains like he's so different to all the other people on the paddock in the teams. Like he's like a regimented machine. He doesn't deviate from his diet no matter where he is in the world. He sleeps at the same time, and he's just like an unstoppable force. So it's like when you look at that and you go, okay, he's built that from a system of training and routine, and now he's built this empire of owning Mercedes race team.
Weapon.
You're like, right, again, he's stacked his massive amount of proof that training is super important just for setting up a routine, no matter
you're
what you're doing.
optimizing everything, right? Like you're just like, if I'm going to be good at this, might as well get everything else to set that up for this as well. So you see it all the time. They just optimize their life to set up for that, right? So they can be a better entrepreneur. Like,
I think physical conditioning has a direct correlation to like mental conditioning.
Just to get used to struggle.
It just resilience. Yeah, like even just we were talking about before, like the people that just had that like kind of rough upbringing. It's like it's all resilience at the end of the day. It's like I've been in a worse situation than this. I know I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So when you train, it's like, well, I know that I can get through tough situations. So then it's like that stacks you proof in the mental situations. And then all you need is like a hard mental situation and to tackle that. And then you're like, cool, well, if I can get through that, I can get through the next thing. So you're just like kind of working up the totem pole of both the physical and the mental conditioning side. And then you throw in someone who's as regimented as that. It's like, fuck, man, like I don't like how do you stop that person?
Yeah, because it's interesting in the gym, like you said, everyone's going to come up and ask you heaps of questions after today because of like, us all carrying on the hack squat and all that sort of stuff. And you were said, the reason why they look is they just don't understand it. Do you think it's just they've just never seen someone struggle and push that hard?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
They just never thought that that's what's possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, they just don't know what can be done. And it's like some people look at it and go, that's stupid. And it's like, but is it stupid if it was going to get you what you wanted? Like, would you bury yourself and do whatever it needs to, kind of get that next rep out if it was to put that size on that you complain about that you don't have all the time? So you just don't know what's needed. And yeah, it's absolutely like people just don't understand what they're capable of, and they actually don't understand what's necessary to meet the goals that they have. Like, I'm not sure if you guys have looked at the mountain that you had to climb when you thought about building your physique, but it's like it's a big fucking mountain, man.
yeah,
It's like the muscle doesn't just come on accidentally. It's like and look at like maybe now because your lifestyle is so habitual, you think it's easy, but it's like anyone from the outside looking in looks at your life and they go, how the fuck do you do this?
yeah.
And it's like, and then take that commitment that's outside the gym and go and kill yourself in the gym every day. So that is why people will always be curious and look at what happened today as an example and be like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, it's funny because I keep telling this to Xavier, and he's like, "Oh, every gym I go to, everyone looks at me like I'm a freak." I'm like, "Yeah, because you are a freak.
You are. You're different, man.
Yeah, like
you
no one's doing what you're doing in a commercial gym, so you need to find an environment that's."
No, I honestly don't know if there's many places that have multiples of them all at the same time.
Well, we had the discussion of finding a gym today, like mixing that culture and obviously business as well. But it's like there's not a lot. Even like where I train in Sydney World Gym, it's like it's a bit of an Instagram gym. I love it. I love training it, but like people go there because of how it looks and the type of vibe there is that like we all socialize and have a laugh and whatever. But in terms of what we did today, you don't get that there often.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of like Platinum. It's like it's a fucking dungeon. There's not many left.
They were so excited for us to come today.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was amazing. They were pumped for us to come there.
Mad.
Yeah, so just do the right thing, give them all the tags, and
look
after them.
That's the thing.
We can keep coming back.
That was fucking sick.
Yeah, it was good fun.
So with you, Jackson, what's changed in your business since you've undergone prep? Do you feel like you've leveled it up? Like what's
I think, as I was saying to Jason today, it's just like not blaming shit on prep, like
mm,
because nothing's changed other than the food
mm,
and the output. So it's just like not using it as an excuse to do less because I'm like, well, I would do this normally. Now, obviously, there's going to come a time where it's factually just going to be like, I'm not going to be able to do it. But at the time right now, like, I'm not going to use it as an excuse as to why I'm tired or why I'm grumpy or I'm hungry. It's like, no, I'm just going to do it because I don't want this to be the reason as to why I'm not. So for me, it's not so much like, oh, I have kicked it up a gear, but without knowing it. If it's anything, it's out of just like, don't let it be the reason that you're not doing the work. And as a byproduct of that, I'm now doing more work.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
that's exactly the same as how I feel. It's just I've made everything so systemized and regimented in my day that it's like I find all this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where does it? Where did
Yeah,
it, where did it,
100%.
where was this before?
And then you're like, I need to do more with this.
yeah, I need to do more. And now it's pumping out more YouTubes and Instagrams
Yeah,
off its head, and it's just
and then
it's
just
funny.
leveraging it as well.
Mm.
Like, it's like I'm getting in better condition every week. It's like, how can I then use this to facilitate getting more clients or branding myself in a way that I am this person and this coach who
Showing the
walks
journey.
this walk
Mm.
and will get you the same results. And it's just like, as I'm getting leaner, just trying to figure out how I can leverage it because at the end of the day, we just said you're a walking billboard.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
would you not?
With that in mind, Jason, because you're not competing at this stage, how do you very like narrow down the training intensity and make sure that you're fucking getting after it without something
Yeah, it's
as
something.
finite?
Yeah,
Because like, do you focus on like, just obviously being one of the best coaches ever and envisioning like the vision that you have for us and like using that, like how do you
question.
keep going?
That is a good question.
I am very fortunate because I really like to train. Like just I don't know what I would do if I didn't go to the gym. So I know that there's like a pure, like it's a hobby as well as like a pursuit, if that makes sense. But I do like have that responsibility to just lead from the front, and I do really lean on that a lot when we don't have like definitive goals. But we do a really good job in our business, especially recently, of like setting like mini, kind of goals and mini events, like the photo shoots and stuff like that. Where like we don't have to be killing ourselves like it is in a prep, and you got experiencing the degree of negative side effects that you guys are experiencing. But we still do hold ourselves to a regard where it's like we lead by example. So you guys are the biggest motivator to like be short, lead by example, all that. I've just always been fascinated by training and stuff. And I think like we were talking about before with just like, if your workout's really hard, everything else becomes easy.
Yeah.
Like I always talk about the fact that most of us don't lean towards those like novel things that other people find difficult, like a cold shower or an ice bath. So it's like, come do that fucking leg workout. The last thing I want to do is like make my day any harder. Like that's fucking hard. Like why would I want to, where it's like for someone who doesn't show up every day and kill themselves in the gym, it's like, maybe putting themselves in some cold fucking water is hard for them and they feel better about themselves because of it. And that's totally fine. So I think there's a little bit of that in it as well. It's just like, it's a habit. It helps with mental fortitude. I know that bodybuilding does lay a lot of really good behaviors for like business and stuff like that. It's all about, not knowing what's going to happen, and it's all up to you if you put the work in and stuff. And it's like, there's so many parallels to entrepreneurship and business. So I think that's partly why I love it as well.
It's also though, like, you don't want to be like when you go to like those dingy martial arts schools where they're like the headmaster never trains and he just like dictates, and it's like, you don't want to be that guy.
Well, there's how much weight does the words, like how much meaning does that person's words have?
Yeah, because it's like, you teach us how to do it, so show us that you do it.
Yeah, I also fucking love it. So it's,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
So but that means that I hope that you guys see it, feel it,
100%.
like everywhere. Like
Yeah.
you can see it in a message. You can see it when I'm next to you. Like you can see it when we talk about all of the things that we talk about. Like I want that to radiate out. And I just don't know how successful someone would be if they just didn't have that same degree of passion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but then I do agree. Like I know people are very task orientated and need deadlines, and that is totally fine. It's just like it's on them to create them if they're not competing or something like that. It's like create something that allows you to set your mind to it, like we do with the photo shoots and stuff.
Yeah,
If we're not doing,
Yeah, it's just always, I
anything
guess, the
crazy.
hard part is like once you, like what happened with me with my first prep and, just afterwards didn't train.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah,
well, how fine can you make the goal? But then you want to make sure that you've got something else afterwards.
yeah. I honestly think that that's a coaching process. Like,
Yeah, well, I
you
didn't
know,
have a coach, so it was like,
yeah,
that's what
and
was
there's
bound to
like,
fucking happen.
conversations that we will be having, 4 weeks out. That'll be about the next 4 weeks after, and there'll be stuff that you guys need to read and learn, and we'll be mapping out how we're going to come out and what the next plans are. I was already telling you guys today, like I've already got, what you guys will really have to do, post show, and then we'll look at where we want to improve, and then this is the process to get you out. And most of the time, people fail after like a cut for a holiday or a photo shoot or a bodybuilding show or whatever it is, because they just don't think about anything else but that. And it's like, well, what happens afterwards? Like, who are you? What do you want? What's next?
Not
You
even
know?
that, just even before.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was saying to you, like, I'm only seeing the progress that we did 6 months ago, 10 months ago
Mm.
now.
Yeah.
Because building size, you don't see the
Yeah.
added
There's
tissue.
layers of body fat on
Yeah,
it
yeah.
as well.
So it's
So you
like
can't see it.
everything else before. Everyone thinks of the prep as the 12 to 24 weeks that you do, but it's like ideally it's the whole thing.
You're always in prep.
Yeah.
Once you do one prep, it never ends.
Yeah. Well, you guys are always upholding a standard of behavior that is reflective of someone who's always working towards a very specific goal. You just get a little bit more rope sometimes, and then other times you don't get any.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure, because I think there's obviously going to come in at a point in time where it's like I don't know, I can't compete in anything, but there will be probably something for me there to compete in, because just naturally I'm competitive
Yeah, I
against
get it.
myself, and that's like a worry for me. Is like, oh fuck, I'm getting older. What's going to be the next thing that I compete in? Is it going to be fucking chess online or whatever it's
Yeah.
going to be?
I have this thing where I'm like, just love the fact that I just do things that other people don't. It's just weird.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like I just look at, like the other day I was like, oh, I'm 36. Like if I look at other people that are my age, like 1% of them are in better nick than me, and they move better than I do, and all of that kind of stuff. Like I just sometimes like work off that as well. Like I still like to bodybuild, and I still like to improve myself and all that, and the pursuit and the hunt. But sometimes I sit back and I'm just like, well, the competition is fucking life sometimes too, right? Like, when people ask what you're training for, it's like, well, I want to be able to fucking pick shit up and bend over and fucking
Yeah.
move and stuff and not hurt. When I am 38, 40, 42, 45, whatever, it's like, I know weight training is the fountain of youth. I know most people who work out look way younger and feel way younger. It's like sometimes it's going to get to that point where it's like, cure your competitive itch somewhere else, but maintain these habits because they're going to serve you across a lifetime to improve the quality of it.
Yeah, I guess that's where business is really, because it's unlimited.
Yeah.
You can keep progressing and be competitive in that forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like, but also like Hormozy says, like you win by not failing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you win the competition by simply just continuing.
just being. All right, we'll wrap it up. If PT didn't exist tomorrow, what would you do?
I would be in finance. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of raw things that come from being in PT and business and entrepreneurship that I could take straight over to finance and do the same thing. Help people in that area. Give them what they need, what they want. And, I feel like I'd be pretty good at it. It's like numbers and those types of things. So, and people and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's what
I
I'd be.
reckon I'd be in real estate.
You reckon with a
With a
haircut,
fucking
with a
haircut.
fucking haircut like that?
I
it's
almost did it,
mandatory.
man. I almost did it.
Yeah.
I went and almost got the license. I don't know. I do like sales. And
Yeah, it'd be like people, like it'd be people giving, helping people get something they want.
yeah.
you know?
And then also just
Yeah.
like, I feel like it's so similar to PT.
Agreed. I think anything is similar because it's everything's selling.
Yeah.
Like once you learn the fundamentals, which is what we learned from Jason and Ben, it's like, oh, wait, I can translate this to fucking selling
Absolutely.
stand-up fans or
Yeah, absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it would be like what Alex has got here. This is fucking incredible.
Yeah,
Like for
I agree.
me,
It's good
stuff.
photography and videography is fucking everything. You know, why I do it so much with content and everything else is because I just fucking enjoy it.
Mm.
And, you know, I was too naive after COVID to keep pushing it because, again, I didn't know how to sell it.
Yeah.
Like I got one job and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I'm like,
Nice.
okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, you know, then you say the classic excuse of like, oh, it just was too hard. Like I couldn't get work. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's not that. You just didn't know how to do it.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think that's definitely what I'd be.
I can see you doing that.
moving
I can see
on.
you doing. I can see you doing what you said. I can see you doing that.
See you in my mullet and suit every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devil
So
Heights.
that's the next business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
we'll
this
get
one
there.
off
We'll
its
get there.
feet, and
Selling
then
houses.
Business number 2 is real estate and media.
Photography and
Yeah.
videography.
Yours is like that. Well, media and stuff like it's pretty complementary to.
Yeah, it coexists quite well with
Yeah.
me. too.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky to have the
You
essentially 2 years of doing
take it into
fucking
your
nothing,
business
of
as well, and
learning photography and videography
Mm.
while in COVID, and then now it's like, okay,
yeah, it's going to serve you now for sure.
I don't even
Yeah.
have to think about it.
Well,
when I
we
edit
had like
videos.
we were talking out there. Like we have to learn. Like I never thought
Fucking
that I would
history
have to
just cramped.
learn any of this.
Yeah.
Thought I'd just train people.
Well, that's what I said. I said to my clients like a few weeks ago. I said, "Thank you for making me feel like a PT."
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I spend fucking 8 hours in front of my
On the
computer,
computer.
editing
Yeah, man.
myself
Yeah.
talking.
Feel like, how can I use this to get me more clients to
Yeah.
actually be able to do my job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's very weird, but it's a great chat. Great to have
Okay.
you both
Thank
on.
you. Yeah, thank you.
It was
for
interesting
having
me
us on.
being the host this time because I've been on Jackson's
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah. Is this your first podcast?
No, we've done other ones, but like I was going to open up with something different, but I'm like, when me and Liana did, it's like literally cameras off. We're in our apartment holding the Rode mics.
yeah, yeah.
Ruffles is fucking squeaking in the background.
Yeah.
So now we have this very professional setup and we can't go back.
Yeah.
So I was like, they'll see this. Well, everyone
And
behind the camera will see this and like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, and the next
So
one.
we just back on the living room floor. But fuck, you just got to start. Like that was, I said to Liana, I'm like, you know, if
Do
we
it.
want to get better at talking in front of the camera, like, you know, you and Giannis,
We just spoke about that today.
it's
Yeah.
fucking reps. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Camera confidence.
Yeah.
So important.
but just like conversation in general is so difficult sometimes. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's difficult if you're talking to someone who you don't have anything in common with.
Oh
But-
yeah.
To guide a conversation, to essentially host a conversation is difficult because there is a flow to it. And if you can't get it right, everything sounds a bit weird.
I agree.
Yeah,
Forced.
well, look at the first one we all did with Giannis and
Mm.
stuff. It was a bit clunky in
Yeah.
the beginning.
You guys were nervous.
Yeah, we were nervous and
it's
just
fine.
like, even just knowing when to talk, when to chime in, when to be quiet.
It's hard when there's 4, honestly. Like it is tough either way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, maybe one day I'll be on the STC podcast. Who knows?
Yeah.
Play your cards right. I might get you on there.
You just gotta buy him a bunch of protein.
Heaps
That's
of
the
protein.
secret, yeah, yeah.
Protein
Oh, yeah,
matrix.
yeah, he found out that Reese is the favorite client at the moment.
But if you- if
he's,
you wanna-
he's the most shredded and he bought me protein.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna buy him
now
TNs
you guys
and
know
be
how
the
to
most
get
shredded.
to
The level.
You guys are creeping up every week, you know.
Okay. Okay. It's a tier
So
thing.
Reese, if you're watching, you heard me. I don't know about now. By the time you listen to this, you might be. You're in a
We'll be leaner by the time
yeah,
this comes
so his
out.
bulk's starting
It's gonna
soon,
be coming
so you know.
4 weeks
Yeah.
of editing for this. But yeah, thanks again, guys.
That's
It's
all right.
always
Thanks
good.
for having us.
Anytime.
It's great to
Amazing
be
chat.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome. Thank
awesome.
you.
Bye.